Let me ask you a quiet, uncomfortable question. Do you ever feel like life is happening around you, not to you? That no matter how many goals you chase, how many milestones you reach, there's still a hollow space inside, waiting for something that never comes. You're not alone, and you're not broken. You're just living in a world that has lost its meaning. And that's not your fault, but what you do about it, that is. Let's be honest. Most people wake up, scroll their phone, go to work, come home, eat, and numb themselves with entertainment until they pass out. They repeat this for years, maybe decades. And somewhere deep inside, they feel the weight of a haunting question. Is this it? We're drowning in information, but starving for wisdom. We're hyper-connected, yet lonelier than ever. We've built a world of comfort, but we ache with discontent. Why? Because we've mistaken distraction for purpose, noise for meaning, speed for direction. And in doing so, we've exiled ourselves from the one thing that makes life worth living, a sense of why. Nietzsche warned us. He wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." But what happens when the why disappears? When society no longer offers a clear purpose, only consumption. When identity becomes a product you curate, not a truth you uncover. You end up with a generation that's overstimulated, overinformed, but spiritually starving. And we call it progress. Let's rewind history. For most of human existence, people lived within stories bigger than themselves. Tribes, religions, nations, families shared myths that gave life meaning. Plato believed the soul craves order, cosmic harmony between the individual and the universe. But in modern life, we've shattered that harmony. We replaced soul all with self, depth with display. We said, you do you. But what if you have no idea who you are? What if doing you just means endlessly trying to impress people who are also pretending to be okay? Carl Jung said, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of its parents." But now we carry the unlived life of an entire culture, a culture that tells you, if you feel lost, buy something. If you feel bored, scroll. If you feel sad, distract yourself. But none of that brings meaning. It just keeps you numb. Until one day, the silence breaks through, and you realize you don't know why you're here. That moment can destroy you, or it can wake you up. Bonhoeffer said, "Being free is not doing what you want, but having the courage to do what is right." And sometimes what's right is to stop, to feel the weight of your questions, to ask, what do I believe in? What am I willing to suffer for? What is worth my time, my energy, my one short life? Because here's the truth no one wants to say, meaning is not found. It's built, brick by brick, pain by pain, choice by choice. Let me tell you a story. A man once spent years climbing the corporate ladder. He made 6 figures, bought the condo, drove the car. Everyone said he made it, but every night he drank alone. And one day, he quit, sold everything, moved to a cabin in the mountains. His friends called it a midlife crisis, but for him, it was a midlife awakening. He started writing, volunteering, hiking, sitting in silence. And for the first time, he felt alive. He didn't escape life. He escaped the illusion. Machiavelli understood something modern society forgets. People will always trade truth for comfort. But comfort is not peace. Peace comes from alignment, when your values, actions, and purpose match. That alignment doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you take responsibility for your soul, not your image, not your resume, your soul. And the soul doesn't care how many followers you have. It cares if you're honest, if you're kind, if you're courageous, if you've looked in the mirror and said, "This is who I am, no more masks." Now you might be wondering, where do I start? Not with a grand plan, but with a simple rebellion. Every time you silence your phone and listen to your thoughts, you rebel. Every time you say no to something fake and yes to something real, you build meaning. Meaning grows in the soil of discomfort. When you have hard conversations, when you show up even when you're scared, when you give without needing applause. Meaning is not some magical force you find one day. It's what you create when you live with intention. And yes, it's hard. You will lose things. You will outgrow people. You will have to face the parts of yourself you've buried. But in that process, something incredible happens. You stop existing and you start living. Let me leave you with this. You were not born to be a consumer. You were not put here to impress strangers online. You were made to feel, to wonder, to fall, to rise. You were made to carry meaning, not borrow it. And in a world that tells you to escape your questions, your pain, your truth, maybe the bravest thing you can do is simply this: feel it all and build something real. If you want to see more, click the subscribe button and like.